The New York Giants have been listed as the favorite to trade for Kyler Murray. Is it possible? Will it happen? We're going to break that down on today's show. We've already seen one crazy trade involving a quarterback with Geno Smith going from the Seahawks to the Raiders. Could Kyler to the Giants be next? Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because if anyone gets traded to the Giants, if the Giants sign anybody next week, we're going to get a video out as soon as possible. We're also going to be live on the channel all day, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And I want to see your beautiful face there. So subscribe, turn your notifications on, and get some sleep. The only reason that I am doing this video is because, I kid you not, over 50 people have DM'd me saying, Marsh, have you seen? Did you see the news? The New York Giants are reportedly interested in Kyler Murray. The New York Giants are trading for Kyler. ML Football put out a tweet and everybody's pants caught on fire. I'll just say this. Let's not always put stock in what ML Football, JPA Football, NFL Rooms, and any of those counts have to say. But when Bovada, one of the leading sports books out there, creates odds for Kyler Murray and his next team, I feel like I would be doing you guys a disservice as a news and rumors channel to not talk about it. The Giants have the best odds at plus 1,000, with the Colts, Titans, and Dolphins right behind. These are long odds, no doubt about it. But why would Bovada do this? Shout out to Brian Windhorse. Bleacher Report adding this on why Kyler could be traded. Quote, the Cardinals could be facing an interesting decision at QB. In an offseason where the NFL draft is short on quarterback options and the free agent market could dry up quickly, the Cardinals are going to be in a position to trade their star quarterback if a team comes in with a good enough offer. Blowing things up after an 8-9 season is a risky strategy. The Cardinals have a lot of things going for them on offense, with MHJ, Trey McBride, and leading a talented supporting cast. However, Murray threw for just 21 touchdowns and 11 picks in his 6th year with the team. Radio host Colin Cowherd speculated that the Cardinals would consider trading their quarterback this offseason. And despite Colin Cowherd, who I'm sure has all the sources in the world in Arizona, saying that the Cardinals would listen to trading Kyler, I don't necessarily think this is all that likely. But as I've been covering the NFL now for 4 years, this being 21, 22, 23, 24, my 5th NFL free agency now at Chat Sports, I have known you never say never, because I never thought the Chiefs would trade Tyreek Hill. I never thought Tom Brady would play for another team. I never thought that Luka Doncic would be traded. I never thought Saquon Barkley would go play for the Eagles and win a Super Bowl. You never rule out anything. And while I don't think this is all that likely, I do think it is worth a discussion. And I thought Bleacher Report made a good point in Cowherd saying that he's heard that they are open to it. So what would it mean if he is traded? Let's start with this. Kyler Murray right now, if traded, would have right now he has a cap hit of $43.5 million. If he remains on the Cardinals for 2025, he has a cap charge of $43.3 million. Whereas if he's traded, say to the Giants would only owe him $18 million for the 2025 season. That is a steal for a top quarterback. Here are the cap ramifications for the Arizona Cardinals when it comes to Kyler Murray. If he is a pre-June 1 trade, they would have a dead cap charge of $28.6 million. But they would save $14.6 million, which might be enough if you also are getting back a premium pick to at least make you listen to some offers. And before we get any further into this video, and I probably should have said this at the start, if Kyler Murray is on the trade block, if the Arizona Cardinals are listening to offers from any team on Kyler Murray, yeah, I'm interested. If Murray even has any sort of smoke around him about being moved, Joe Shane should be on the phone and trying to get a deal done. I'm a huge Kyler Murray fan. I have been for a long time. I got to watch him up close and personal in high school. I watched him up close and personal at Texas A&M. Then he went to OU, and I've always been a major fan of his game. Maybe hasn't lived up to the hype of being a number 1 overall pick, but he sure has showed flashes that he could be a legit quarterback. He has showed me that if there is ever a team that can build around him, give him an offensive line, and give him weapons, he can be successful in the NFL. I think he's one of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL. Last year, completing 68% of his passes, throwing for nearly 3,900 yards and 21 touchdowns. And you can't rule out how much of a gamer he is due to his legs. He is a true dual threat rusher. Over a 17-game average, he puts up 104 carries for 626 yards, 6 yards per carry, and 6 touchdowns. He can run it, he can throw it, and he is one of the best playmakers in and out of structures in the National Football League. I've always been a fan. And I remember when there was rumors a couple of off seasons ago that the New York Giants could be in on Kyler Murray. And I was all in on that idea then. And I'm all in on that idea right now. It won't be cheap, though. I know that. If I'm the Arizona Cardinals and I'm looking to trade Kyler Murray, I'm asking the New York Giants for the number 3 overall pick in the NFL draft. Kyler is still, how old is Kyler Murray? I'm going to say he's 28 years old. Kyler Murray is 27 years old, turns 28 in August. As I even have an L3 scripted in the show. Look at me. Kyler Murray is still just 27 years old. And I think he's, again, one of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL. And for a team that trades for him, his contract is relatively cheap. Number 3 pick is a steep price, though. But if you believe Kyler Murray's a franchise quarterback, you do the deal. What do you think? Would you trade the number 3 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft to the Arizona Cardinals for the number 3 pick? We saw the New York Giants were willing to do anything to go get Matthew Stafford. Now sounds like they're willing to pay a guy like Aaron Rodgers. And to be honest with you, I think I would rather just have Kyler Murray than both of those guys. But I'll ask you, would you do this deal? Type A for accept, type D for decline. Quickly to end today's show, with free agency right around the corner, I want to take a look at the most likely players that are going to sign with the Giants in free agency. Joe Shea made it abundantly clear. He wants to draft a rookie quarterback, and he wants to sign a veteran. We'll power rank the veteran QB options coming up. First, though, you got to get hooked up with Factor. Go to Factor Podcast, use our promo code Factor Podcast, and you're going to get 50% off your first box when you go to factormeals.com/Factor Podcast, factormeals.com/Factor Podcast. So use that promo code Factor Podcast. If you're ready to optimize your nutrition this year, listen up. Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They are dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes, so you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared. Perfect for any busy lifestyle. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, it's easy to pick meals that are tailored to your goals, like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfasts, grab-and-go snacks, and more add-ons. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/Factor Podcast and use code Factor Podcast to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code Factor Podcast at factormeals.com/Factor Podcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. If you live a busy lifestyle like me and you don't always have the most time to prepare your next meal, get hooked up with Factor. They are awesome. All righty. Who are the New York Giants going to sign in NFL free agency? If I had to rank them in power rankings, meaning who I think is most likely, I do think it is the former multi-time MVP Aaron Rodgers. I think that if I had to make a bet today on who I think puts pen to paper next week to join this organization, to be their signal caller for the 2025 NFL season, I think it's going to be Rodgers. This is a guy who I think at this point in his career is criminally underrated. And I don't understand the hate. We hate him because he does a show with McAfee every Tuesday? Like, why do we hate Aaron Rodgers as a person? Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I think of all the free agent quarterbacks, he's the best one. And I think it gives the Giants the best chance to win multiple games, in the most games, in 2025. If I have Rodgers as the most likely outcome, I got to go Russell Wilson as the second most outcome. And both these guys for the same reasons. Future Hall of Famers, NFL champions, and guys that could still play at a level high enough to win a lot of games. And two guys that know that the end of their career is much closer than the beginning of their career. And then both understanding that if they come and join this team, they're going to have a young guy under their wing that they are going to be asked to mentor and bring them along. I got Rodgers 1, Wilson 2, and I've got Sam Darnold as the third most likely option to be the Giants' starting quarterback. Or I guess the way to phrase it is the third most likely player to sign with the Giants in free agency. With the Raiders now having their spot filled at QB with Geno Smith being there, that takes the team off of the Sam Darnold sweepstakes. Is Darnold now going to go to Seattle? Is Darnold going to return to Minnesota? Is he going to go back to the Jets? Or is he going to go to the New York Giants? I don't know. I think the fourth most likely free agent quarterback that could be signed by the Giants is Mr. Jameis Winston. Mr. 30 for 30. I only really like the idea of signing Jameis Winston if I know for sure that the New York Giants are getting Cam Ward or if the New York Giants are getting Shedeur Sanders. I don't want to have to enter the 2025 season with any thought or belief that Jameis Winston is going to have to start multiple games for the Giants to start the year because they don't have anybody else. If you sign Jameis, you better make sure you're getting one of those young quarterbacks. Like you trade up to number 1, then you go get Jameis. Or you can go out and get a guy like Marcus Mariota. Those are the two guys that I think make the most sense if you do make a trade for the number 1 pick. So the fifth most likely, I'm going to go with Mr. Marcus Mariota, the former Oregon Duck. And for a lot of the same reasons that Jameis, I think he can win games. And I think that Mariota has already shown that he could be a mentor to a young player. He was awesome in the locker room with Jayden Daniels. And when he had to start last year, graphics says he threw 2 touchdowns. He ended up throwing 4 touchdowns. He also ran in 2 touchdowns as well. So Mariota, someone that I'm also interested in. But to be honest with you, if it's not Mariota or Jameis after you trade for the number 1 overall pick, or if it's not Darnold, Rodgers, or Wilson, I don't really know what other option makes the most sense. I only really see 5 guys that make sense as the people that the Giants could sign. Like, when you talk about the other free agent quarterbacks outside of the top 5 guys we named, which one of these guys do you want more? Justin Fields? Let me be honest with you guys. I have no interest in Justin Fields. He's the guy that if you sign him, you need to give him 2-3 years to continue to work. What are we going to give him, 8 weeks and then sign a rookie? And if he struggles, bench him? What is Justin Fields going to teach my young quarterback? I want someone in the locker room, in the whiteboard room, in the quarterback film room, teaching my young quarterback. I like Mac Jones probably the most of anybody on this list. Not interested in Jimmy Garoppolo. Joe Flacco, maybe if you trade for the number 1 overall pick. Not interested in Zach Wilson or Cooper Rush or Carson Wentz. Jacoby Brissett, maybe last resort if you trade for the number 1 overall pick. Don't even really want him. Drew Lock, no thanks. And, the last name, no thanks. What free agent quarterback do you want the Giants to sign? We just gave you 15 people. 15 people. Who is it going to be? We're going to find out real soon. And you're going to find out first on my Twitter. So give me a follow on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_, and give me a follow on Instagram. Same handle. Let's go Big Blue.